Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling those mysterious black helicopters.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones that seem to pop up in every conspiracy theory.
Right.
We've got eyewitness accounts,
Yeah.
some declassified documents,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of theories to sort through.
It's fascinating how these stories tap into like our primal fear of the unknown. You know,
Totally.
black helicopters, they become this symbol for like everything from government overreach
Right.
to alien encounters.
Yeah.
It really plays into that fear of what's lurking just beyond our sight.
It's like the less we know, the wilder our imaginations get.
Exactly.
So where did these black helicopter stories even come from?
Well, a lot of it can be traced back to the John Birch Society.
Yeah.
They're this far-right anti-communist group.
Right.
Back in the 1960s, they started claiming that these black helicopters were part of a UN plot to take over America.
So playing right into those Cold War anxiety.
Oh, absolutely. It fed right into the paranoia of the time.
So this idea that there are these shadowy forces using these unmarked aircraft for, nefarious purposes.
Right.
It's been around for a while.
It has, and it seems to like resurface even more strongly during times of uncertainty, like when there's social upheaval going on. It's like we project our anxieties onto these mysterious choppers.
Right.
They become the villains in our own narratives, you know?
And it seems like those anxieties have kind of evolved over time.
Oh, definitely.
It's not just about UN takeovers anymore, right?
Exactly. What else is out there?
Well, in the 1990s,
Okay.
author Jim Keith, he published this book called Black Helicopters Over America. And suddenly, these helicopters were linked to like a much broader set of concerns.
Like what?
Concerns about government surveillance, the erosion of personal freedom.
Right.
It tapped into that growing distrust of authority.
Yeah.
That fear that Big Brother is always watching.
So we've got Cold War paranoia, government conspiracies. When does it get really weird? Oh, well, buckle up because we're about to enter the world of cattle mutilations.
Oh, here we go.
Imagine this. You're a rancher and you find your livestock dead, organs surgically removed, no trace of blood, no sign of a struggle.
That's creepy.
And guess what's often reported nearby?
Black helicopters. It's like something out of the X-Files.
It is. And the theories about these mutilations, they are wild.
Oh, I bet.
Some believe it's aliens, harvesting biological material.
Right.
Others think it's secret government experiments or even psychological warfare tactics to like sow fear and chaos.
Psychological warfare. That's a chilling thought.
Right. Like the black helicopters are just a tool to mess with people's minds.
Keep them on edge.
Keep them off balance. Yeah.
That's pretty unsettling.
It is.
That brings us to a more recent story.
Yeah.
The story of Andrew Dawson.
Oh, right. The TikToker.
Yeah. Who went viral after claiming to have filmed a giant on a mountain in Canada.
That was a wild story.
So bizarre.
And tragically, it was short-lived.
Yeah. So in April 2022, Dawson posts this video showing what appears to be a massive figure on Whistler's Peak. It's in Jasper National Park in Canada.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Then things get really strange. He starts posting about being followed, claims he's being harassed by CIA agents.
What?
He says he's blocked from going back to the sighting location.
That's so strange. What was going on?
Right. And then there's this other video where he recants the whole thing, but he seems genuinely distressed.
Yeah, it's like he's being forced to say it.
Exactly.
And then a few months later, Dawson dies.
Under mysterious circumstances, at only 34 years old.
Wow.
No official cause of death was ever released.
Which, of course, fuels more conspiracy theories.
Of course.
Did he stumble onto something he shouldn't have?
Right.
Was it a hoax gone wrong?
Or was there something darker at play?
It's a story that really captures the unsettling nature of these black helicopter mysteries.
It does. It raises so many questions about truth.
Yeah. The power of social media and how far people will go to control the narrative.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the helicopters themselves.
Okay.
What are some of the most common characteristics that people report?
Well, people consistently describe them as unmarked, completely silent.
Right.
And they seem to move with an agility that defies what we know about helicopters.
Yeah, witnesses always talk about this eerie quietness, as if these choppers just glide through the air,
It's like they operate outside the laws of physics.
Right. It adds to the whole creep factor, for sure.
Okay, so let's assume, for a moment, that these helicopters are real.
Okay.
And that they're operating in such secrecy. What are the theories about their purpose?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
Lay on me.
We've got everything from mass surveillance to transporting elites, secret government experiments,
Oh, yeah.
and even time travel.
Time travel. Okay, you've got my attention.
Right.
But let's start with the more grounded theories.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
What about this idea of mass surveillance?
It's absolutely a possibility.
Really?
Yeah, in today's world with technology advancing so rapidly, it's not hard to imagine these helicopters being equipped with sophisticated surveillance equipment.
So it's like Big Brother on wings.
Yeah, potentially.
But why go through all the trouble of using unmarked helicopters?
Right.
Wouldn't it be easier to just use satellites or drones?
Well, satellites and drones have their limitations. They can't always get close enough to gather like really detailed intelligence, especially in remote areas, heavily wooded areas.
So black helicopters could be used to fill in the gaps.
Exactly.
Provide that more targeted and discreet form of surveillance.
Yeah, and don't forget about the intimidation factor, too.
Oh,
A sight of an unmarked helicopter circling overhead, that can be incredibly unsettling.
Right, like a subtle message that someone's watching.
Yeah, and that psychological impact, that feeling of being watched, that can be just as effective as any physical surveillance.
So it's not just about collecting data, it's about control.
Right. Shaping behavior through fear.
It's a chilling thought.
It is. It is. But one that's worth considering as we dig deeper into this whole black helicopter mystery.
Okay, so we've got surveillance, intimidation, but what about those other more outlandish theories?
Yeah.
Like time travel. Are we really going there?
Oh, why not?
Okay.
We're already deep in the realm of unsolved conspiracies and unexplained phenomena.
Right, let's do it.
Okay.
Time travel and black helicopters. What's the connection?
Hold that thought. Before we jump into the more fringe theories,
Okay.
let's talk about another case that highlights just how unsettling these black helicopters can be.
Okay.
It's the story of Fred Valentich.
Fred Valentich.
Yeah, he was an Australian pilot who vanished.
Vanished?
Yeah, after reporting a UFO encounter.
Wait, a pilot vanishes after a UFO sighting?
Yep, right up our alley, right?
Absolutely.
So this was back in 1978.
Okay.
Valentich was flying a Cessna 182L light aircraft.
Okay. He was over the Bass Strait when he radioed air traffic control in Melbourne. He reported an unidentified aircraft following him.
What did he say? What did this UFO look like?
He described it as having a bright, shiny surface.
Okay.
And green lights. He said it appeared to hover and then orbit his plane.
Oh, wow.
And then his last transmission, it was chilling.
What did he say?
He said, it's hovering and it's not an aircraft. And then there was this metallic scraping sound.
Whoa.
And all communication just ceased.
A metallic scraping sound? That's seriously creepy.
Right. No one knows for sure what it was. Valentich's plane was never found.
Wow.
And his disappearance remains unsolved to this day.
So where do the black helicopters come in?
Well, it's the aftermath of his disappearance that's really interesting.
Okay.
Witnesses reported seeing strange lights over the Bass Strait where he vanished.
Oh, okay.
And even black helicopters in the area in the days that followed. Wait, so not only do we have a pilot vanish after this chilling encounter,
right,
but black helicopters show up afterward.
It's like something out of an X-Files episode, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Was there a covert recovery operation? Were they trying to silence witnesses?
Possibly.
Or was it just a coincidence?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And the lack of answers just deepens the intrigue surrounding these black helicopters.
For sure. This is wild.
Oh, we're just getting started.
Right.
Stay tuned as we dive deeper into these mysteries and explore some of the wilder theories about what those black helicopters might really be up to.
It's like the mystery just keeps getting deeper with every detail.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's kind of addictive.
Okay, so we've got these black helicopters potentially involved in everything from UFO cover-ups to cattle mutilations. But is there any credible evidence to support these claims?
That's the challenge with these kinds of mysteries. Hard evidence is often scarce, and what does exist is usually disputed or open to interpretation.
Of course.
But that's part of what makes it so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Trying to piece together the puzzle with limited information.
Right.
Connect the dots and see what patterns emerge.
Just like we're playing detective. Except the stakes are potentially much higher.
Exactly.
We're not just dealing with a whodunit here.
No.
We're trying to uncover secrets that some very powerful forces might want to keep hidden.
Absolutely. And sometimes the most compelling evidence we have comes from eyewitness accounts.
Okay.
We have countless reports from people from all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
all over the world,
Yeah.
who claim to have seen these black helicopters operating in suspicious circumstances.
Okay, but couldn't some of these sightings just be misidentified aircraft
Sure.
or military training exercises?
Of course, that's always a possibility.
Right. It's not like every black helicopter is part of some grand conspiracy.
Right, but there are certain cases where the details just don't add up.
Hmm.
The descriptions are too consistent.
Yeah.
The behavior is too unusual to simply dismiss as routine military activity.
Give me an example.
Okay, so there's this chilling account from a rancher in Colorado.
Okay.
This was back in 1975.
Uh.
He found several of his cattle mutilated.
Oh, wow.
Classic signs. Organs removed with surgical precision, no blood, no struggle.
That's terrifying.
And guess what he reported seeing in the days leading up to the incident?
A black helicopter.
You got it.
It's like straight out of a movie.
It is. He claimed he even saw a black helicopter hovering over his property just days before the mutilations.
Whoa. Okay.
And even creepier, he said he was followed by the same helicopter when he tried to report the incident to the authorities.
Followed. Okay, now that's just straight up intimidating.
Right.
It's like they wanted to make sure he knew they were watching.
Oh, exactly.
Maybe discourage him from talking about what he saw.
It definitely adds a layer of menace to the whole story,
Yeah.
whether you believe in government conspiracies or alien involvement. That kind of tactic is just undeniably unsettling.
So we've got this rancher's story and countless other eyewitness accounts.
Right.
But are there any whistleblowers out there?
Ooh, good question.
People who claim to have been involved in these black helicopter operations.
There are a few intriguing cases.
Okay.
One involved a retired U.S. Army intelligence officer.
Okay.
He spoke anonymously about his alleged involvement in black helicopter operations back in the 1980s.
What did he say?
He claimed they were deployed to monitor what he called unconventional air traffic.
Unconventional air traffic.
Yeah, which many interpreted as code for UFO activity.
Well, so we're back to the UFO connection.
We are.
Is this guy saying black helicopters were used to surveil and potentially neutralize evidence of extraterrestrial contact?
That's what he claimed.
That's a pretty big claim.
It is.
What else did he say?
Well, he also claimed these helicopters were equipped with advanced radar and even electromagnetic pulse devices.
Whoa, hold on. So not only are they stealthy and silent, they can fry your electronics too.
That's what he said.
That's some serious next-level tech.
Right.
If this guy's telling the truth, it suggests that whatever's going on with these black helicopters is far more sophisticated and secretive than we might imagine.
Exactly. And it raises the question, if these technologies exist, where did they come from?
Right.
Are they the result of top-secret government programs? Or could there be something even more mysterious at play?
Like you're going to say aliens, aren't you?
Well,
But if we're talking reverse-engineered alien tech, shouldn't there be some physical evidence?
that's where it gets really strange.
Oh.
Witnesses often report that their cameras malfunction,
What?
or their batteries drain inexplicably when they try to film these helicopters.
It's like they're equipped with some kind of tech that messes with electronics.
Right.
That's crazy.
Some even suggest they might be able to disrupt radar signals,
So they're invisible to radar.
potentially making them virtually invisible to conventional tracking systems.
Okay, now that's getting spooky.
Right.
So if these helicopters are that advanced, who's building them?
Right.
And who's funding these operations?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is this a government program, a private enterprise, or something else entirely?
There are theories about secret government agencies with unlimited budgets, shadowy organizations with ties to the global elite,
Okay.
and even the possibility of, well, let's just say non-human involvement.
Non-human involvement. Okay, you're definitely teasing us now.
Maybe just a little.
But before we go down that rabbit hole, is there any specific case where this theory seems particularly plausible?
Oh, there's one place that immediately comes to mind.
Okay.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Ah, Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
The legendary hotspot for paranormal activity, UFO sightings, and all sorts of unexplained phenomena.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle of the paranormal world. And it's become a focal point for those who believe in the connection between black helicopters and UFOs.
Really?
Yeah. Researchers and investigators who've spent time on the ranch, they've reported numerous sightings of black helicopters, often following or accompanying UFO sightings.
So it's not just random sightings. There seems to be a pattern to their appearance.
It seems that way, right?
Are they always spotted after a specific type of event?
The pattern, if you can call it that, is the helicopter's apparent interest in the ranch's paranormal activity.
Interesting.
They seem to be drawn to areas where strange lights have been seen or other unusual events have been reported.
It's like they're monitoring the ranch, keeping tabs on whatever's going on there.
It's definitely a creepy thought.
And it plays right into that fear of the unknown that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
It's like something sinister is watching, waiting for the right moment to, well, who knows what.
And the descriptions of these helicopters are consistent with other reports.
Right.
Unmarked, silent, and often appearing and disappearing without a trace. It's like they operate outside the boundaries of our understanding of physics and technology.
Okay, but is there any evidence beyond eyewitness accounts to suggest that something's really going on at Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, there have been reports of strange electromagnetic anomalies, unexplained animal deaths, and even injuries to researchers who've ventured onto the property.
It's like the ranch itself is some kind of vortex for weirdness.
Right.
A magnet for unexplained phenomena.
Exactly.
And the black helicopters are just another piece of the puzzle.
Another piece of the puzzle.
It's almost too much to wrap your head around.
It is.
Are we saying that Skinwalker Ranch could be some kind of ground zero for the black helicopter phenomenon? A place where the veil between our world and something else is especially thin.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
And one that we'll need to explore further as we continue our deep dive into the mystery of black helicopters.
Please.
But for now, let's shift our focus back to those wilder theories we teased earlier.
Oh yeah, the time travel stuff.
You ready for that?
You can't just drop a bombshell like that and then leave us hanging.
All right.
I need to know more.
Okay, so you know how witnesses often describe black helicopters appearing and disappearing suddenly?
Right.
Almost like they defy the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Well, some theorists believe that this could be evidence of advanced technology.
Right.
Potentially even the ability to manipulate time and space.
Hold on. Are we talking about actual time travel here?
Maybe.
Like going back and forth through different eras?
Potentially.
Or is it something more subtle, like bending the fabric of space-time?
That's where things get really speculative.
Okay.
Some believe that these helicopters could be used to access parallel dimensions or alternate timelines.
Whoa.
Perhaps even to gather information or resources from those other realities.
Okay, now we're definitely venturing into science fiction territory.
We are.
But then again, a lot of what we've been talking about already sounds like it could be ripped from the pages of a sci-fi novel.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
And that's part of what makes this whole topic so intriguing. It blurs the lines between reality and imagination.
Right.
It forces us to question what we believe is possible.
So how do we even begin to unravel this tangled web of theories and speculation?
Well,
where do we go from here?
We need to keep digging.
Okay.
Keep searching for those elusive pieces of evidence that might help us separate fact from fiction.
Yeah.
And we need to keep asking the tough questions, even if the answers lead us down some very strange and unsettling paths.
All right, I'm ready to go down the rabbit hole.
Good.
Lead the way.
Okay.
What other mysteries and theories are waiting to be uncovered? So we've gone from Cold War paranoia to cattle mutilations to time travel. My brain is officially fried.
That's the thing with these mysteries. The deeper you go, the more questions you find. And the more you realize that truth is probably way stranger than anything we can imagine.
It's true. So how do we make sense of it all with all these crazy theories flying around?
Well, you have to remember, these black helicopter stories, they thrive on a lack of real information. The more the government denies things, the more the conspiracy theories grow.
Right. It's like a vacuum that gets filled with speculation.
Exactly. And fear.
Yeah.
That lack of transparency means people can interpret things in all sorts of ways.
Okay.
From, pretty normal explanations to the totally out there.
Right.
But even the really wild theories, they can tell us something about what people are worried about.
Yeah, like our cultural anxieties.
Exactly, and that deep-seated distrust of authority.
So let's try to break down some of these interpretations. We'll talk about mass surveillance. Is that actually possible in today's world?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look around. Yeah. Governments and corporations, they have access to crazy powerful surveillance tech.
It's true.
It's not that hard to imagine those capabilities being used for aerial surveillance.
So you're saying it's not just grainy security footage anymore. We could be talking like facial recognition, thermal imaging, who knows what else, from the sky.
It's possible. And don't forget about private companies, too.
Oh, right. It's not just Big Brother anymore.
Right.
It could be big business or some, like, rogue organization with a hidden agenda.
Exactly. It's like a dystopian novel. You're always being watched, but you never know by who or why.
That's a really unsettling thought.
It is.
So, okay, surveillance is possible, but what about those fringe theories?
Yeah.
Like chemtrails, the ones where they say black helicopters are spraying chemicals.
Oh, right.
Is there anything to that?
Well, there's no scientific proof of chemtrails as people describe them.
Okay.
But the fact that so many people believe it,
Yeah.
it shows how much people distrust authority and how much they fear these hidden agendas.
It's like people are searching for explanations for things they don't understand.
Exactly. They're trying to make sense of a world that feels chaotic.
Right.
And sometimes, even if an explanation sounds crazy, it can make people feel like things make sense.
It's like the black helicopters are a blank canvas for people to project their fears and anxieties onto.
That's a good way to put it.
They represent all those unseen forces shaping our world, that power we can't quite grasp.
Exactly. And it's important to acknowledge those fears, even if we don't agree with the conclusions people reach.
So even if chemtrails aren't real, the fear they represent is real.
Right, and that fear is something we need to take seriously.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Surveillance, conspiracies, psychological warfare, even time travel.
It's a lot to take in.
What's the main takeaway from all of this?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that these black helicopter stories, they reflect our own anxieties and uncertainties. They show how much we distrust authority, how much we fear the unknown, and how much we want to find explanations for things we just don't understand.
So it's like a mirror, reflecting our cultural anxieties back at us.
Exactly.
And while it's important to be critical, we also have to recognize that they tap into something very real.
Right, a basic human fear of the unknown, something we've always felt.
And maybe that's the most unsettling part of all of it.
Yeah.
That we don't have all the answers, there are things we don't understand, forces we can't control.
That's both scary and exciting, isn't it?
It is. It reminds us that the world is more complex and mysterious than we often think.
Well said.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today. But to all of you listening out there,
Yeah.
keep those questions coming. Keep exploring. And never stop searching for the truth, no matter how strange or unsettling it may be.
Who knows what we'll discover next time?
Exactly. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.